Hi guys! So this is the road trip vlog. So we headed off today from where we live. We jumped on the train, headed to Sydney and picked up our hire car. We hired an electric vehicle to drive from Sydney all the way up the coast, just so it was easier on fuel, and we actually really enjoyed driving it, so that was quite fun. First time my husband's driven an electric car. On the way, it was quite cloudy and stormy, but it was really nice to start getting into more tropical stuff and seeing all the different environments that are along the way. We ended up stopping in Port Macquarie for the evening. One, to see my husband's dad, but also we just love Port. We think it's such a nice little town. So there's my husband. Hi, Sam. He really enjoyed driving the car. On the way, when we stopped, we stayed the night at the Port Macquarie Hotel. It's an old style pub. Rooms are pretty standard, but it was in a really, really good location. So if you've ever been to Port Macquarie, everything is kind of located on this main street. So it was really easy to get to everything, go have some dinner, go for a wander around. So it's always a good spot. And we stopped in at Hog's Breath Cafe, which is an Aussie classic. It's definitely not as good as it used to be. It used to be a lot more kind of camp and a bit weird. There was like the giant pig mascot, but it was still good. So we headed in for the night and went to go get some dinner. Nothing's really changed on the inside, still have the classic wooden booths, and we were looking forward to getting some protein after a long drive. We didn't stop anywhere and get any takeaway, so we were very much looking forward to having a big meal.
It looks like a tampon.
Our meal came and it was delicious. Sam had ribs and I had a steak. And then we wandered around to go and get some ice cream. So Port Macquarie has quite a few little gelato places, and we ended up getting some sugar-free chocolate gelato. It was absolutely delightful. It was so yum. Then we went for a little wander right down in the water there. It's a bit spooky looking, but it was so beautiful. A bit windy, but so worth it. And we had our gelato and just chilled out for a bit.
Go on. Go wild. Oh!
Despite the fact my husband almost made me throw up, we then continued our little walk for the night and just chilled out together. It was really, really lovely. The next day, we headed back into Port and we got some coffee, and we stopped at Black Market Bagels, which is one of my favourite breakfast spots in Port Macquarie, and I'm so glad it's still there. So delicious. We also met this little dog, and he was so sweet. He was like a big teddy bear, so that was a nice morning. So I really recommend Black Market Bagels if you're around. It is delicious. We then had to go charge the car up, so we drove just outside of Port Macquarie where they have a really nice charging station, and we had our breakfast at that spot. And don't forget the cursed baby shoe that I saw. Not quite sure what that was about, but I ate about half the bagel and had about half my coffee. It was absolutely delightful. Then we just headed around back into Port. We were going to spend the day with Sam's dad, but before we met up with him, we decided to go have a little look at the ocean. So we headed to a little beach lookout where the lighthouse is. It was so windy and choppy. It looked insane out there, but it was just so nice to finally feel a bit of ocean spray. I definitely missed this. I used to live up near Ballina and I miss seeing the ocean. It used to be our favourite thing. We'd go for a swim, go for some fish and chips, go for fresh seafood, whatever it was. So I really, really missed that kind of feeling of being near the beach, even though it was absolutely crazy and I would not go anywhere near this to swim. It was just absolutely beautiful to see it again. So the little lighthouse that's in the area is really, really sweet as well. Reminds me so much of the Ballina Lighthouse, which is actually where my husband and I got our wedding photos done. Then I saw this little guy. I'm really, really going to miss Australian magpies. Japan has their own magpie, but I just don't know how cheeky they are. Aussie magpies just have their own little personality, so I'm going to miss them so much. They're very special to me. They're one of my favourite birds. So I said hello to this little guy, and you can just see how absolutely gorgeous the water is, but you can also see that dark cloud coming over. There was a storm that night. It was a really, really big rainstorm, so you can see the ocean was looking pretty cranky about that. And then another little magpie, he was absolutely holding on for dear life on this bin. It was just so windy. And then we headed back into Port for the day, hung out with Sam's dad, and we were off to go further up the coast to go and see my family. So So far, really, really good drive, and just getting our charging in when we needed to, but it was already so much cheaper than getting fuel. So it was a really good decision to go with the electric car. Port Macquarie is one of those places just absolutely stunning. And as you head up further to the coast, we went to Coffs Harbour as well, charged up in Coffs, and went to the Big Banana. Big Banana is an absolute Aussie classic. I hadn't been there since I was a kid, and it was absolutely pouring rain when I was trying to get this footage.
And it's raining. Good.
After Coffs, we made it right to the top of the coast where we needed to go, which is right at the top of New South Wales, charged up again, and we spent the day with my brothers and my stepmom. Where you're actually looking right now is where my husband and I got married. So we actually went and headed out there, and there's my stepmom. So we got married at Family Foreshore in Ballina. It was an absolutely beautiful day, so it was really nice to reminisce on that. And then we went to our favourite place, Northern River Seafood, and picked up some fresh seafood. We just absolutely love this place. It smells like the ocean inside, like clean ocean, and it's just the best seafood we've ever had. And then my stepmom and I celebrated with getting a tattoo together. So we've been planning this tattoo for a few years. Both her and I have gone through so much together, and so we both got butterflies. So that's my leg there, so I have a lot more tattoos than her, and I ended up getting 2 smaller coloured monarch butterflies, and she got 1. So these are really special to us. So that was a really fun day over at Lennox, and that night hit the pub up. I did not drink, but my husband absolutely split the G, as he does, and we had a really great time hanging out with my little brothers. So here's one of them kicking around the soccer ball. He's just such a rabbit. He's always got so much energy. So it was really fun to come and see them and to catch up with them before I leave for Japan. So I have 4 younger brothers, and they are just the best. I absolutely adore them. So they were showing off their tricks on the trampoline. We had a few great days together, just hanging out, doing all the holiday things. And so that was really, really nice. So I really enjoyed seeing them. And then my husband and I went out on a little date together. We went back to Ballina, and we went to Zarafas, which is where we used to get coffee all the time. And we headed down to the beach where we got some wedding photography done when we got married. And it was, again, so choppy, another crazy day. The weather was just not on our side while we visited. And then we headed all the way back down home. We picked up a whole bunch of fun stuff for dinner. And so I was actually cooking Japanese food for my brothers. So my little brothers really love all sorts of food, and so I decided to cook them some udon and tempura just to show them kind of what I'm going to be eating while I move, and some sushi. We then spent the evening doing some arts and crafts where I gave them like a prompt and we all drew something. That was really fun, and they were being very, very silly, as they do. And so we had so much fun just drawing. We had a little competition about making robots and whose robot would win. And I just adored my time with them. It was so much fun. You'll hear some clips. My little brother, he's a little bit funny and naughty.
What else does he do? And what's he do?
He drinks Wheatus's.
Why? What's that? What's those pants?
No, hold up. And he smokes lots of them every day.
He smokes what?
He smokes of the world.
Okay.
And on his belly, it shoots out penises.
So he's got a penis machine gun.
Yeah.
A machine gun.
And he's got a massive asshole.
Yep, that's my brothers. They are feral and crazy. Then we had to head home really early in the morning. So we stopped off at the Big Banana again to charge up, and we watched some Italian Batch, who's one of our favorite YouTubers. Then we stopped in this really cute cafe in Kew, I think it's Kew. It's almost like a little cafe, and they had fruit and vegetables and a little shop. It was really, really sweet. So we got some coffee from there, and the coffee was so good. And then headed all the way back down to Sydney after like 9 hours of driving. We were exhausted. So back in the city, and then returned the car, back on the train, heading home. It was a massive day. This was all in one day. So it was huge.
Make sure to like and subscribe to the video.
Just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this little video. And I'll be back next week with the video of our cruise. Bye.